Morning, everybody. Today is March 21st, 2021, and we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and a couple of altcoins. Going over to Bitcoin on the weekly. Bitcoin on the weekly is very, very close to the point it needs to close above. And if we go really close in on the chart, the area that I need Bitcoin to close above is 57,606. Now, right now it's 57,140. That is a very achievable number. And 57,527. So anything above 57,530. $57,500 is the number to close above, which is that 3 candle. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the candle we need to close above. The interesting thing is that as soon as the next candle prints, if that close happens, we end up with a 7. We then have an 8 that'll shoot us to the upside, in my opinion. And that will be the second highest close on the weekly in Bitcoin's history. Will be this 7 candle right here if we close above this line. It'll be the third highest weekly close if we don't. Going over to the daily. The daily chart is not looking bad at all. I've kind of played around with this cup and handle. I am definitely, I think, done with this at this point. I'm just not seeing it. I do see the cup, and the handle looks like it broke down maybe a little bit too far. It's taking too long, in my opinion, to form the handle. So I'm taking that off the chart. However, what I do note is that right here, and we're going to do it from the bodies of the candles, is that we have a trend support right here. And this one candle is riding that trend support. Now, the RSI is not looking great for me at the moment. However, it's not diverging, which is good news. This hasn't diverged yet. The MACD is flattening, but it's still in the positive zone. So I have a neutral to positive on the MACD, slightly bearish on the RSI. The volume is actually very positive to me. And the reason I say that is because this is a correction consolidation type pattern, and when I see decreasing momentum in the correction slash consolidation, that usually tells me there's a trend reversal about to occur. And I think this is the confirmation of the trend reversal, is this one candle. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. This one probably isn't going to close as a 3. It would have to get almost $2,000. I would have to clear $2,000 to really close as a 3 candle. And I don't see that happening within 6.5 hours. It could happen. It's not likely, in my opinion. However, what I am looking for is the close above this 6 right back here. This is the one that is telling me that we need to close above here, and that'll make me very, very bullish. And we're so close to it that we can definitely make that happen and get the weekly 7 printed. Going over to the 4-hour. The 4-hour, we have this symmetric triangle that I drew a few, like maybe 4 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. And it definitely broke down. We're trying to get back up to back test it. We broke out. We had 2 candles close above, and then a 3rd candle shot us back in. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the momentum necessary to carry us further. I was hoping to see the 4 candle print and then go to the upside on the 4-hour, but that's unfortunately just hasn't happened. What is important to look on this chart, though, is where this 6 candle is going to close. If we can close the body of this 6 candle above this green trend line going all the way back here, we will have basically reset our position back to the upside. And then what I can do, and I can do this, which is take this all the way back and say we've had one body close out, we had one body close in, and now we just need to make sure that this body closes back into the bottom of the symmetric triangle. And that for me will say that this triangle is most likely over in terms of its potential. But if we can extend it out to this, and I don't really like this. This is too. It is a proper triangle, but it's too. It's got this giant trend line that it's screwing around with right here. I don't like that. This trend line is more important to me than the symmetric triangle at the moment. So this trend line is taking precedent over the triangle because it has a longer history that I can use for it. So what I'm hoping for is this to break above here, and I'll keep this triangle in this position. But this is the last move I can make on a triangle like this that I would feel comfortable adjusting to just keep everything, because I'll lose the wick of this touch if I go any amount down. I can keep it, and I can go a slight bit up to keep that wick. That's as good of a fit as I can get and not start breaking bodies. And I'm barely touching the body here. So the going over to the indicators, the RSI is looking a little troubling right now. However, the RSI can definitely flip to the upside as soon as we close this candle above this green trend line. The MACD is trending negative. However, we're still in the positive range, and it doesn't look like the acceleration. Are we in the positive range? The MACD, I think, has just crossed over. So we are negative on the MACD, so that's bearish. So we're bearish on the MACD. The RSI, we're still above this purple line, which is good. We unfortunately made a lower low on the RSI from back here. That's not good. That's not good. So this is, I'd be leaning more bearish on this. The unfortunate thing is we were trying to bounce back into this. I'm going to keep extending these little boxes out that I have drawn on the RSI because I need us to get back into this bullish zone. And we can play in the neutral territory while we're inside the triangle. However, when we break out of the triangle, I want to be in this bullish territory. And I want to break out, come back for a back test on the trend line, not the triangle. I don't want to back test the triangle. I want to back test the trend line to show that the trend line is the more important indicator on this chart, and it's not the pattern that's that the triangle is forming. It's the trend. And then start shooting up and breaking all-time highs. Now, I was expecting to be at all-time highs at the end of this week. That made perfect sense to me. And we just unfortunately haven't seen it yet. It's coming. It may be coming Monday or Tuesday next week, but it's coming. Going over to BAT. Basic attention token. So, that's ontology. My bad. I got quite a few things drawn on this chart. So I had basically these time corrected on the daily to try and get down to a red 9. This is the first one that I'm going to remove because that is no longer in play. And this is no longer in play. Now, I believe that the way I set this up was 10 bars. And that's because I was not expecting this 5 candle to be as deep of a drop as it was. And this 1 candle is starting to look pretty important, honestly, because what I may end up seeing is something like a 1 to 4 candle move to the upside to retest this area on the 236 and then followed by more downside. But if this is a 1, 2, if this adds 2 candles, my red 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. My red 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't go above here. And so I'd have a 1. I'd probably have to print a green 1, which would screw up my time targets, which would take this off the board. Now, there are still other options, which are that this continues to go down. And this may go down all the way to here as well. I just don't know what's going to happen, if we're going to have the bounce from here, then the fall down, or the continuation down here. But this puts my time target about 4 more candles out. And so this is time corrected for a 9 count to come back for a retest. It's going to be really hard to get a retest here. You're going to have consolidation going flat and then a breakdown followed by a little bit of just a diagonal. It's going to be really hard because this is pretty tight. And this is going to be a little bit difficult as well to get a 9. So because of this 5 candles large descending body and the way this 1 candle is looking, it's going to be very difficult to print a 9 count on this red arrow right here. It's going to be very, very difficult. That structure is going to be very, very hard to achieve. This makes more sense to me. This bounced back up to the 236, followed by more downside with the count being intact, would put us into a much better position to reverse the price. And going over to, I only want to look at a couple of things. I'm going to skip. So Theta, here's a perfect example of when a long trade should have been activated, and I missed both of these entries because I was busy. I missed my first entry at the 2 going above the 1, which was back here, which I actually wanted to take. I think I was looking at the time scale. Can't tell if I was sleeping or not, but I didn't realize that this 2 went above this 1, and when I finally saw where the 2 was, it was up here. Even though it went back here, I put an order in to come back here, but as soon as the 3 started trading above the 2, I pulled my order out, and I got busy again. So this is bad management on my part because I saw this coming. And I wanted to be in right here at a long trade with the stop loss down here, and I also wanted to buy the breakout of this high. And I missed that as well. Now, this one isn't too big of a deal for me. I would always like to buy the breakout, but I would have to buy the breakout on the weekly chart. And this would be a different trade. And it gets harder to justify all of these entries for me because they're so far along the counts. So the daily... the 4 going above the 3 would have been the daily entry, the last daily entry for me. I wouldn't go a 6 above a 5. That's a tough one to call. The 4 hour was the one to trade for me with a swing trade taking profit in 8 hours from now or 10 hours from now. I didn't do that. That was a foobar on my part. I screwed that up. I'm going to be paying way more attention to Theta now that it's making all-time highs and looking for a retest and a retracement. I was hoping to see one back here where I could pick up a little bit on this trend line and then maybe catch a secondary move to the upside, but it's just taken off. Going over to ADA. So that's a good example of not FOMOing in. Just because I missed a trade doesn't mean I'm going to go and take a position at some random spot. That's a bad way of, it's a really good way of losing your money. It's a really bad way of managing your money and your accounts. Cardano over here. Full disclosure, I had buy orders set on that got triggered right here on this candle. I think that was to the... No, it was back here. Yeah, it was. I hit the low right here at 2180. 2182 or something like that, or 2082, somewhere around there. I hit the low on that to the T. It wasn't on this chart. It was on a different exchange. And then I also got my secondary buy order filled right here. So I have 2 entries right now, one in this position and one in this position. And I have no stop losses set at the moment. And the reason for that is because I also have another position that I'm looking to pick up way down here. I don't think that one's likely. I think we're more likely to come all the way to the trend line. However, with this, the minute we get above this line, and let me put this in the charts for everyone to see. The minute we get above this line, and that's going to act as resistance in my opinion, that's where my stop loss is going to go, is right there, in profit from these two areas for a combined entry price, which should be right here. My combined entry price should be right about here. And so my stop loss is going to go in there for a 5% profit. Nothing big, but my stop loss is also going to be, well, my stop loss is going to be there, but my target is actually this. So my target is this 236 number. And so my stop loss is going to be here. I'll be in profit. So I either make a 5% profit on this one, or I'm holding for a longer period of time. And this is mostly because the chart I'm actually trading this on is the weekly. And the weekly chart for me has been in this consolidation pattern, and seeing this this candle right here and where it looks like it's going to close on the body, because it's over the midpoint of this 9 candles body, tells me that this correction may be over. And that's been the big one for me to start laddering my buys in here and waiting for a secondary move to the upside. And I think a 2 going above a 1 is coming. I've just been wanting to buy these areas first. And that's just me and my technicals going in, and I think we've bottomed right here. I think this correction is over, and we're either going to have a secondary move to the upside, or we're going to have a breakdown right here. And in which case, I'll know that by the end of today where this where if I'm going to put a stop loss, where I'll take a loss, where it'll be. But these buy orders have just been sitting there for a while, and I'm actually really happy with my entry prices in these areas. Going over, we've broken down there. I would like to see this move occur. I know this chart is getting really cluttered, so I'm going to clean this up. And I know I have a few things on there, but I'm going to remove all that, and I'm going to remove these as well. And really what I'm looking to see on this is some type of move down here, and then some type of back test. And I don't know when this is going to come, but I'm looking for, and this is going to make more sense, I'm looking for a retest somewhere on this trend line before another move down, what I think is going to be a retest of long-term support, again, to make another higher low. I don't know what pattern is going to form in this area. I pegged this as a head and shoulders pattern with a breakdown right here at the neckline. But because it's tilted, I can also make the argument that we're in a channel. And we're in this channel that's been broken out of, broke back into, and we're just kind of consolidating. And we may get to the top of this channel, which oddly enough, if I go take it all the way back, is going to be pretty close to where that 382 is. So you'll see it where the channel and the 382 will come together and make quite a bit of sense. So here's an area right here where the 382 and the channel top are touching. And that can be a potential sell target for me as well. So this area, this whole area right here becomes a sell zone for me on just a quick bounce for a little bit of profit, followed by potentially more downside. And this is a trading. This isn't my full ADA position. This is a trading position that I'm taking. So there's a difference between having like a long-term hodl position that you're going to hold on to for multi-year, which I've had, and then there's a smaller position that I'm willing to take and literally just use it to arbitrage to accumulate more Bitcoin. And I'm not adding to my hodl position. That's been locked in. And once I feel comfortable where I think the prices are good, I will be taking some serious profit off of that. But that's going to be way above 3,200. That should look something more like going down here. The profit taking area is going to be more into like the 50 and 60 range. So hiding all drawing tools. On the weekly, this I think is setting us up for another 9-week move to the upside. And going by the extensions, and this is going to get messy. I'm looking at this 60 or this 6,000 Satoshi area as my target. That's really where I'm looking at, and I'm staring at it very hard. If we can get to the 2618, that's where 50% of my profit will be taken, as this 1618. And I don't have a problem going back in it with even more if we start moving further up into this extension range. But I do see ADA breaking its all-time Bitcoin high. I think that's really doable. So just to give you a dollar for dollar comparison, ADA right now is $1.20. So $1.20 from the move of, let's say, I think our price is right here, to a new all-time high. We'll take, my initial move is going to be here, is 183%. So 183% on $1.20 is roughly $3.25 an ADA token, which I think is really doable. But that's in relation to Bitcoin. Bitcoin doubles in price, that's $6. Going here, which I think is, if we get to this area, I think that we're looking at brand new all-time high breaks. And that's 300%. So that would be a $4 ADA. Roughly, a $3.60 ADA. If I'm doing that right. And then the last one I would be looking at is there, and that would be a 5x in price from where it currently stands, which is $6. But if Bitcoin's at 150,000, then you're looking at like a $15, $20 ADA token, which I don't see happening. I don't see happening unless the dollar is really, really bad off. And I think that's everything I wanted to say for today. Oh, LBRY credits. Here, I'll just look at that real quick for you because it's on the chart. Also had a position in, also still have a position in LBRY. I had the option of taking profit on this 9. I didn't, and the reason for that is very simple. I am in a weekly trade, and here is my entire trading scheme. So this is, I'll just make this completely public for you guys. My first entry was 361 on the back test of the triangle. And we're going to go to the 4 hours so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to put this right here. So my first entry on this was the back test right here. After the breakout of the triangle, I put a stop, I put a buy order in right down here. I missed my buy order by 1 Satoshi on this one. Someone scalped my position out, and I just held and waited, and we came back, and I got my position filled right here. We had our move to the upside right here on the 9, and we've come down. I have a secondary entry at 370 right down here. And I've just been waiting patiently to see if we're going to come back and back test that. And that's because this is an 88.3% retracement on the on this move up right here. Now, if we don't hit that, and it's looking a little less likely that we will at the moment, I'm perfectly fine with not taking this position yet. But I am perfectly fine taking this position at the 3, trading above the midpoint of the candle wick of the 2 next week. So this secondary entry will change drastically if I have to go back in at 429 instead of 370. Now, my stop loss hasn't been set yet because ADA has a tendency to do, or LBRY has a tendency to have these large order book clearing stop hunt wicks. And I have a nice opportunity if we're going to wick down to maybe even accumulate some more, but I don't expect us to break back into this triangle. Maybe retest the top of it again, but I don't expect a lower low than this on this run. If something happens and then we have a lower low than this, that tells me on a closing basis on the 4-hour that this trend is broken, and I'll have to wait for a back test of this channel to get out of my position. So my risk reward is 32 to 1, and it's a 9-week target, and my target is a 724 area, which is roughly 100% move to the upside, way up here. So that's my position. I have 7 more weeks of potential time left in this trade, and we're going to see how that goes. I'll keep you guys updated. Probably on Sundays, I'll update you weekly to let you know how this trade is going, and you can see, my thought process as the market evolves, and I slowly change my opinions with new data as it comes in. All right, everybody, that's all for now, and have a wonderful Sunday, and I will talk to you tomorrow with a normal market update.